Good evening and welcome to Politically Incorrect with Manishankar Iyer and Shapon Dasgupta. It's been a week when we've seen relations between the government and its army chief in an absolute tailspin. First, the army chief said Delhi's former lieutenant governor tried to bribe him. Then a letter written by him to the prime minister talking about the army's lack of preparedness and obsolete equipment was leaked to the media. Then there was a second letter from the army chief to the CBI asking them to probe a serving general who's second in line to succeed him. While members of parliament demanded the army chief's dismissal over that leaked letter, General V.K. Singh called it a cynical attempt to tarnish his reputation. As charges and counter-charges fly, we're asking tonight, what are the larger implications of this very public and unsavory row, and is it compromising India's national security? Manishankar Iyer, if I can begin with you, is the army chief a malcontent or someone who's actually trying to be a whistleblower?
I don't know. I certainly don't want to impute any motives to him. But the kind of positions he's been taking, and that too in public, and in public with the media when there is no strategic compulsion to do so, seems to me to be incompatible with the constitutional provisions for a relationship between the army and the civil authority. Now, please remember that India's single greatest achievement is that we have translated independence for our country into freedom for our people. And this has not been matched by any country in our neighborhood or in most of the world. The army takes over. We have succeeded in institutionalizing this relationship so that there is no Bonapartism in the Indian army. To take the example of the country next door to us, Pakistan, remember that when Ayub Khan was the chief of army staff, he was also the defense minister of Pakistan and used both these offices in order to overthrow Iskandar Mirza and start an 11-year military dictatorship, which has been replicated 2 or 3 times subsequently. Equally, we have a situation even today where the defense secretary in Pakistan is a lieutenant general appointed by the chief of army staff. And this causes, I think, complete confusion as to which is the role of the army and what is the role of the civilian authority. In India, notwithstanding a little blip that took place when most of you weren't born, this is back in 1958-59, just after the Ayub coup, when there were differences of opinion between Krishna Menon, the defense minister, and Timaya, who was the chief of army staff. Then Timaya submitted his resignation by way of a protest and was asked to withdraw it, and he did. Now, we've had problems with chiefs of army staff before and the government. There was a problem when General Sundarji was the chief of army staff. There has also been subsequent discoveries, for instance, of General Deepak Kapoor and the admiral who headed our navy being involved with the Adarsh Society scandal. But none of this has shaken the institutional relationship in the way in which currently that institutional relationship seems to be getting undermined. Therefore, I think we need to get back on track as quickly as possible. It's not a question, as your question appeared to imply, of personalities. Much more important is the institutional relationship necessary as the underpinning for our democracy to continue.
But more than just about personalities, also about institutional rot. Are we missing out on the facts of the letter that was written to the Prime Minister because it was leaked and because of the timing of that leak?
Yes, I think it's a very sad day that we're actually discussing this thing. I think I would agree with Mani up to a point. But I think I'll take off from where he ended, which is that the relationship between the army chief and the civilian authorities has been derailed to a large extent. And I think it's important to note that this comes in the context of larger derailments of certain other institutions which have been taking place over the past few years. The CAG has come under attack, the CVC has come under attack, the Supreme Court has come under attack, the Election Commission in the recent elections have come under attack. So in this context, I think we are now seeing a situation where the armed forces too are caught in the midst of a controversy. Now, had this controversy been something limited to the age of the general, which was where it erupted to begin with, we would have taken it as a minor blip. these things happen, they probably will happen in future. And anyway, it was glad it was sorted out some way or the other. Perhaps not happily, but some way or the other it got sorted out.
Well, the Supreme Court had to pass strictures.
It touches on the question of the integrity of certain institutions. The integrity and what we've been suspecting for a very long time in India, which has been whispered all over Lutyens Delhi, is the tremendous influence of certain external forces, notably arms brokers, in actually molding important decisions in the country. And I think whatever we may have misgivings over whether General Singh should have made it public or not, the fact is this is too important a matter to be left, to be brushed under the carpet and be concealed from public view on the guise that it disturbs a certain equanimity or a settled institution. So I think it's important to take some of these issues into account, notably the specifics of this case. Number two, the larger issue of whether decision-making in the armed forces is independent. And finally, the most damning thing of a letter which should never have been leaked. But it's very important. But now that it's in the public domain,
but it's interesting that you order it in that way, talking about
India's
the institutional
gross
rot
unpreparedness to meet the challenges. And I think that's a very, very serious issue. Now, all three taken together would mean that this controversy is something exceptional. And I think we should approach it, minus the personalities, and look at the issues which have been put forward.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at ndtvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.